Hello, dear listeners from around the world, and welcome to Master English with Tim, the podcast where Tim helps you master English without ever hurrying. I'm Tim, native speaker from the U.S., podcaster obviously, English teacher since 2005, world traveler, polyglot, and writer of dictionaries. Now, if you want to really master English, if you want to understand and speak and read it at an advanced level, then one of the things that you need to do is know a lot of different meanings for each word. A lot of relatively basic words in English have additional meanings, extra ones, that you might not know about, and that's what I'm going to talk about part of the time in this week's episode, those additional meanings. I, of course, will also review the basic meanings of these words to put the more advanced meanings in context. I chose 5 words to focus on in this week's episode, and the words come from the NGSL, or New General Service List, which is a list of the most used words in English that I talked about in episodes 2, 11, 62, 73, and 80. This week's episode is 81, so yes, I am talking about NGSL words for the second week in a row. So, let's start with the word survey, which is number 1006 in the NGSL. The NGSL, by the way, if you don't remember, has about 2,800 words. So we're on word 1006 this week, starting with it. We have 3 meanings of this word, which is survey. We have 3 meanings of survey that are verbs, and we have 2 that are nouns. A few of the meanings are quite different from the others, but if you break the word survey into 2 pieces, you will see the connection between all 5 of the meanings. So the first part of this word is sur, which comes from Latin and means over or from above. The second part is ve, which also comes from Latin and means look or view. So in some sense, survey means overview. Okay, so let's start with the verbs. The first verb meaning of survey is a list of questions. Okay, so let's take the first meaning of survey. The first meaning of survey is a list of questions that is used to find out people's opinions about something. In this meaning, survey is obviously a noun. 4 examples. 1. Hello? Hi, my name is David Jones, and I'm carrying out a survey on buying habits for... Sorry, I'm busy. 2. The government carried out a survey to see how many people knew about the planned improvements to infrastructure. 3. Can you please answer a few survey questions? Well, okay. 4th and last. The survey takes around 15 minutes to complete. Okay, the next meaning of survey is to ask people the questions that are in a survey. That survey there is the meaning from the previous examples. So the next meaning of survey is to ask people the questions that are in a survey in order to find out their opinion about something. So here, survey is a verb. 3 examples. 1. They surveyed around 1,000 people and published the results in a government report. 2. We surveyed people of different ages, sexes, locations, and professions. 3rd and last. I surveyed my classmates at school about the new class schedules and published the survey results in the school newspaper. Okay, the third meaning of survey is to look at a large amount of territory very quickly. So again, a verb. Actually, in this case, the stress shifts a little bit. It's not survey, it's survey. So, 1. The first thing I do when I go to a new city is go to its tallest building, get in the elevator to the top floor, and survey the whole city below me. 2. I like to play Microsoft Flight Simulator. I choose one of the slower airplanes and survey natural places as I fly over them. That, by the way, is a great way to learn geography, much more interesting than looking at a map, in my opinion. 3. She surveyed the city from the top floor of its tallest building. 4th and last, a drone flew overhead and surveyed the damage done by the tsunami some days earlier. Okay, let's look at a couple of noun meanings of survey. So, the first meaning of survey is a university textbook that contains the most important information about a single large topic. So, you could have a survey of 19th century English literature, or a survey of human evolution, or a survey of organic chemistry. So, try to imagine one of these surveys or books. Do you think a survey is a thick book or a thin one? Do you think a survey is a light or heavy book to hold in your hand? And do you think the paper in a survey is usually thick and heavy, or that each page in a survey is usually made of very thin and light paper? Think about that for a second. We're talking about a university textbook that contains the most important information about a single large topic. So, if you said that a survey is a thick, heavy book that usually has pages that are thin and light, then you were right. 2 examples. 1. Worlds Together, Worlds Apart is the name of a 2-book survey of world history and global trade. Second and last, the last book I read was a survey of Japanese history. It was so interesting that I decided to read more specialized books on the same topic. Okay, the next noun meaning of survey is very similar to the last one. It is a series of lectures, usually for university, where the professor talks about the most important information on a particular topic. So a series of lectures, or you could call it a course, containing the most general important information on a topic. Now, a lot of the time we don't just say survey alone, we say survey course. I'll use both ways of saying it, survey and survey course. 3 examples. 1. In my first semester at university, I took a survey of English literature. 2. This survey course will provide students with a broad survey of Brazilian society in the 20th century. So broad survey, when you say broad, that means wide, and it just kind of repeats the idea that this is a general course or a general series of lectures. Not a lot of detail. Third and last, specialized courses are of course interesting, but I like survey courses more and wish the university offered more of them. Okay, let's move on to our next word, which is number 1007 in the NGSL, the noun majority. A majority is more than half of something, especially a group of people. 3 examples. 1. A strong majority of people agree that the government needs to replace old infrastructure. 2. Our party won the election with just a bare majority. Only 50.5% of voters voted for us. So when we say bare majority, we don't mean bear the animal like roar. We mean bare majority. That means just enough to call it a majority, like 50.2%, 50.3%. So, third and last, just because you're in the majority doesn't mean you're right. So, when we say that you are in the majority, that means that your opinion is the one that the majority has. So, for example, if 80% of people like bananas more than apples, and you also like bananas, then you are in that group of 80%, and you are in the majority. Okay, our next word is 1008, stick. S-T-I-C-K. We have 2 meanings of stick as a noun. First, a stick is a small, thin piece of wood that is smaller than a branch. So a stick is usually about as thick as a pencil, or maybe a little bit thicker. It could be as thick as your finger. If a stick falls from a tree and hits you on the head, it will hurt, but it will not cause you a serious injury. So again, this is not a really heavy piece of wood. It's something thin. Here are 5 examples. 1. They walked in the forest and collected dry sticks to make a campfire. 2. The sticks broke under our feet as we walked along the path. 3. A stick fell from the tree and onto the ground next to me. 4. These sticks are too wet to use to start a fire. 5th and last, he never seems to eat anything. He's as thin as a stick. Okay, our second noun meaning of stick is quite similar, but a little bit surprising, so listen carefully. So, a stick is, second meaning, a piece of uncooked celery or carrot that has been cut to a size that makes it easy to eat with your hand. So a stick of celery or a carrot stick is about the size of your finger. 2 examples. 1. I'm a terrible cook, so every time I go to a party, I just bring carrot and celery sticks. 2nd and last, I wonder if my daughter ever eats the carrot sticks that I put in her lunchbox when she goes to school. Okay, now let's move on to the next meaning of stick. Stick is an irregular verb. It's a verb, and it's irregular, and its forms are stick, stuck, and stuck. So those past tense forms are with a letter U, stuck. So the first verb meaning of stick is to push something into a hole, usually a small hole, and usually using some force. So, 1, we got 5 examples. 1, I stuck the key in the lock just like always, but I couldn't get it back out. 2, the little boy stuck his fingers in his ears and stopped listening. 3, he stuck a fork in the toaster to see what would happen and got a terrible electric shock. 4, what are we going to have for dinner? I don't know, let's just stick a frozen pizza in the oven. 5th and last, don't stick your nose in my business. So, maybe you can see the connection between this meaning and the noun ones. So, if you want to push something into a small hole, you might use a stick from a tree to do that. So you can maybe see the connection between, sticking your finger in your ear and a stick from a tree. Don't stick a stick into your ear, though. Don't do that. Okay, the next meaning of stick is the third form of the verb, and we sometimes use these third forms of verbs as adjectives. So remember, the third form is stuck. So if something gets stuck, it enters a place or situation and can't get out. If it is stuck someplace, it means that it already is in a place or situation that it cannot exit from. So, 4 examples. 1, our car got stuck in the soft, wet ground. 2, where are you? Sorry, we got stuck in traffic. 3, my key got stuck in the lock and I couldn't get it out. 4th and last, how's the new video game you got for your birthday? Oh, it's very hard. I'm still stuck on the 2nd level. Okay, that's all for stick. Let's go to our next word, which is 1009, request. So the first meaning of request is a verb. When you request something, you ask for something. So what's the difference between asking for something and requesting something? Well, they both mean exactly the same thing, but request sounds a lot more formal. 3 examples. 1, I requested vacation time and am still waiting for my boss to give me permission to go. 2, he requested and received a pay raise of $800 a month. 3rd and last, we are requesting that the city government reduce the speed limit on the road near our school. The next meaning of request is a noun meaning. So a request is something that you ask for from another person. 4 examples. 1, our office is closed now, so we will respond to your request on Monday. 2, no one likes it when he comes to our restaurant because he's always making strange requests for food that is not on the menu. 3, I asked for help, but my requests remained unanswered. 4th and last, we think that our request that you clean up your dog's poop is totally reasonable. Okay, now we can talk about our final word of the day, which is 1010 in the NGSL, rich. So, of course, if someone is rich, it means they have a lot of money. 3 examples. 1, their family is rich and lives in a huge house. 2, some people work a lot and earn a lot of money, but never feel rich. 3rd and last, how much money do you need to earn each month to feel rich? Okay, you could also say in a metaphorical sense that a culture is rich. If a culture is rich, it means it is very complex and well-developed with strong traditions. Okay, we can also use the adjective rich to talk about food or drink that has a lot of calories and possibly a very strong flavor. So, for example, Gouda cheese is rich. Or red wine, especially really dark red wine with a very strong taste, you could also say is rich. You might also say that an espresso is rich because it has such a strong taste. 3 examples. 1. After being sick for several days, I couldn't eat rich foods like cheese or meat. 2. At Christmas time, I eat a lot of rich foods like turkey, cheese, and sweet breads, but after the new year, I eat more healthy stuff. 3rd and last. The food in Mexico is very rich. It contains a lot of sugar and fat. Okay, also, when we say that a food is rich in a particular healthy ingredient, that means that the food contains a large amount of that healthy ingredient. So again, rich in something. 5 examples. 1. Milk is rich in calcium. 2. Oranges are rich in vitamin C. 3. Bananas are rich in potassium. 4. Not many people know this, but broccoli is richer in vitamin C than grapefruit is. 5th and last. Green vegetables like spinach are rich in many important micronutrients. Okay, that's all for this week. Thank you everyone for listening, and see you next Monday.